Hi, I'm Jennifer of Celtic Knot Crochet, and today in this video I'm going to show you how to weave this Celtic knot for the Celtic Knot Sparkle Mandala. This here is the completed project. You'll see that there's quite an intricate knot woven in the center. Then it is added to with some crocheted edging, and then some beads are added. This is a metal ring that is crocheted around, and then you can add some lengths of beads to give it that sparkle. So let me go over how to weave this knot, and then I might also give you some tips on adding the mandala to the ring and how to do these different bead elements. For the complete instructions, you'll find those in my Etsy shop, and you'll see it in the link below. In order to weave this project, you'll need the diagram printed out from the instructions. You'll want to check that your diagram is printed out the correct size. If you see right here, there's a guideline that measures 1 inch or 2.5 centimeters. And if you hold your ruler up to it, you can see that it is indeed 1 inch. So I've printed out the correct size. You'll also need a cork board about 1/4 of an inch. I like to also put some styrofoam underneath that so the pins don't poke through, but you only need 1/4 inch for this. You can also use a foam core poster board, and then you'll need 20 to 30 straight sewing pins. These are flower pins by Clover. There'll be a link to where you can get those in the description below. The last thing you'll need to weave the knot is the cord that you've just created. This is what it looks like up close. This is actually the right side of the cord according to the stitches, but then we turn it over and we use this side as the right side for the project, and we do a slip stitch edging along one side, and you're going to place this cord along the path of the knot starting here at this red asterisk, and you'll follow the arrows all the way around. If you'd like to do what I'm doing to practice the knot, following the arrows with your finger, and you can see you go from loop 1 to loop 10. So these numbers help you know that you're on track. 1, then 2, then you back up to here, 3, 4, 5, then you go all the way over to 6, then back to 7, then over to 8, back to 9, and then across to 10, and then you'll end right next to where you started. You're going to hold the cord like so with the edging along the bottom edge, the contrasting edging, and you pin the end of the cord in place. And I'm going to follow the path around to loop 1. And this path continues over to loop 2. Pin wherever you want. No right or wrong way to pin. It's just like giving you some extra hands to hold your cord in place. Now the arrow goes this way. And I'm going to pass over where I started. Remove this pin from the beginning and replace it there. You can see the beginning of the cord is now hidden under this part of the cord. And I'll peek here at the diagram, and I can see that I need to go under this cord right here. Take the end, feed it through, like so. Making sure, see it twisted, make sure I untwist it. And now I'm at loop 3. And I'm going to pin that in place. And then if I peek at the diagram, I can see that I need to go under right here. And I peek and I'm going to go under again. So I have 2 unders right in a row as I head to loop 4. A little twisted. I just need to make sure I untwist it. Press everything down. And put a pin there at the crossing to keep it where it needs to be, like so. Now I'm going to pin again at the 4th loop here. And I can peek ahead. This is how I'm going to go. So I know I have to head back to 5 and I'm at 4. So I'm going to go this way and around to 5 and then past 4 and over this way to 6. Pin along the path. And as I get to here, I see right here that I'm going to be going over. But then when I get to here, I need to go under, and then when I come to this one, I can see that it's going over. Over, under, and then another over. Here I am at loop 5 and I peek and I see I have to go under, and then for right here I'm also going under. I'm going to hold this in place a little better. Right here out to loop 6. You can rotate the diagram if that helps you see things better. Now I'm at loop 6. Get my yarn tails out of the way. I do use those later, just sew the ends together. Now following the arrows from 6, I go under and around and end up back here at 7. And if I peek, this is going to go over, then I'm going to go under, and then I'm going to go over again. So lay it down along that path, and then over, under, and over again. Now I'm at loop 7 and I peek, and I'm going to need to go under, under, and that'll bring me to 8. Now I know that from 8 I'm going to need to come back to 9, so I'm going to loop around this way and end up back here at 9. So I look and take a peek. I'm going to go under, then I'm going to go under this one, and then I'm going to go over this one, under this one, and then over. And it's all right here under in the diagram. You can see how the path is supposed to go. So you don't have to memorize anything, you just follow along. So I peek and I go under, and I'm going to go under again. Make sure this one's laying down on top. Put a pin right there to hold those down. And now when I come to here, I'm going to go over, then an under, then I have another over, and then I'm going to come, this is my last pass. I'm going to go from 9 to 10, and then shortly after 10, I will end right where I started. So I have peek, and I see I have an under, and then an over, under. I know that from 9 on, every time I come across the cord, it's going to alternate with over and unders. So if you wanted to circle number 9, once you get here, you're going to be under, over, under, over. Here's my last little bit right here. I can turn that to show you. Under, right here, over, and then I end right here where I began. Use one more pin to hold that in place. And press it all down. And that's how you weave this knot for the Celtic Knot Sparkle Mandala project. Next, you'll want to join all of these overs and unders so your knot stays together nice and even, and then you're going to crochet into the outside edge, and I'll show you how to take the mandala, attach it to the ring, and how to put on the beads. When I'm ready to remove the knot from this cork board, I pin all the crossings like so across, and that helps keep everything in place. I do any adjusting I need, and then I pin them across, and then I can lift it up off the board, turn it over, and use the yarn tails and other scraps of yarn to sew it all together. Once you've completed the rounds around the outside edge of the woven knot, they're just 3 rounds, you can see now to help you connect it to the ring in a nice even fashion, you can use these Wonder Clips by Clover. A link to where to purchase them is in the description below. These work great. If you don't have these, you could use clothespins, stitch markers, or even just some scrap yarn. These are great because I can take them off easily, and I work the clip around the 10-inch metal ring and then through the chain 3 spaces. And when I attach them, I would do this one and then the one opposite. Then I'd pick one of these and do this one, and then one of these and do one of these. So I'm constantly working across, and that helps it to get into this even stretch. Next, it depends on how well your mandala fits across the ring. So if you're having trouble having it meet the side, that's no problem. You can have a bead to cover the remaining section. You can see that instead of stretching the crocheted piece all the way to the ring, I used a bead on just some of the matching thread and tied it on at the end of the point. So you could do it that way as well if you're having a hard time reaching the ring. But if it reaches the ring, then you can embed a bead right inside this opening created by the chain 3 space. So to attach the beads in this manner, you would thread a nice long piece of matching thread on a yarn needle and put it right through that opening here. You see where that is? And then I'm going to thread both of these ends through the bead that I'm interested in having sit right here in the middle. And I think I might put 3 beads in here because the opening is a good size. To thread the beads on, I use something called a floss threader. You'd find this in the dental section of your pharmacy. It works great for threading beads onto yarn. I put both ends of that thread through this floss threader. Then I thread on the beads in the order I'd like them on my project. So I'm putting a large seed bead, then one of these super sparkly faceted beads, and then another large seed bead, like so, and pull the yarn tail through, set the needle, my threader aside, could see how that fits there, and now I'm going to thread the thread back through my yarn needle so that I can go through that center chain of the chain 3 space, and that keeps my beads right inside that gap. If you want to keep this nice and tight, you could add just a simple knot by going back through that chain, and it helps anchor the bead in that spot. And then I'm going to separate these 2 yarn tails and tie a knot and pull it tight, and I'll tie another knot so it's not going anywhere. And then I'm going to do that on all of these points all the way around, and I'll have them all tied on, and then I'll do the last finishing step of the ring, which is to cover this with single crochet. And that is what it looks like when it is got the bead on the inside. So those are 2 options for you. You can attach the beads in the same way, whether you put it inside the chain 3 space or you put it on the outside like the purple one. After you've attached all the beads and all the points, you'll want to single crochet around the ring. And in order to do that, you'll want to work over the yarn tails from tying the beads and points on, and that way you don't have to weave them in later. So I'll just show you quickly how to do that. It's very simple. You insert your hook into the center of the ring, yarn over by grabbing the yarn from the back of the ring, pull the loop up at the front. Now you have 2 loops on your hook, yarn over and pull through both of those loops, and then snug it up. I'll do it again. Put your hook into the front of the ring, yarn over on the back, pull the loop up to the front, then yarn over, pull through both loops. You can see here's the thread showing through, and I'll just pull it and snug it up so it's on the back side of these single crochets. And I'll do maybe 6 or 7 single crochets and make sure they're tucked out of the way, and then I would clip this off right here and you won't see the rest of those yarn tails. The last part to make this mandala a true sparkle mandala is to add the bead lengths hanging down. I chose to add 3 bead lengths. You could do 5. An odd number is a nice design element number. And according to the directions, you'll chain this length. You'll chain 3 of them. And I started at the bottom. And I made sure there was a nice yarn tail. Now you can see it can be difficult to thread beads, so I use that floss threader again, and then I can easily thread the chain length like so onto this large teardrop faceted bead. Then I just tie a knot on the bottom, a double knot. I'll weave in the yarn tail later. Make sure the knot looks pretty. And later I'll weave that back in here. Now that I've secured the teardrop bead to the bottom, I'm going to add a knot just by going over the cord like so and feeding the end back through, and then carefully guiding the knot so it heads down to the top of the bead and rests over the top of that join there, like that. It helps give it a nice finishing touch. And then to feed on the other beads, I'm going to use this floss threader again. You'll have a variety of beads that you've gathered to put on this project. There really is no right or wrong way. A couple tips: it's good to alternate the size and style of the bead. It's also good to alternate colors and have them in groups of odd numbers. So I have one teardrop clear, and then I'm going to have one super sparkly like this one. And between each bead I do the knot again. It's a simple overhand knot, and carefully, before I tighten it, move it down so it's right next to the previous bead. And I'll continue like that until I have a length like this. And I'm making my center length just a little bit longer than the others, so when it hangs from the metal ring, they make a nice graduated look. So the center one would be longer, and then the 2 on the side would look like that at the end. So you can experiment. You can use different beads here at the bottom. If you don't want to use 3 large teardrops, you could use other shaped teardrops or a couple green ones to match the color scheme, or whatever color scheme you do. So I hope this video helped you be successful with the Celtic Knot Sparkle Mandala. Make sure to click subscribe and give us a thumbs up, and don't forget to watch the next Celtic Knot video. Thanks for watching!